Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. I got the Manic Genius in the building today.
What up?
KC Fred, Wally and Amazing, slacking off, missing in duty. Nah, they got caught up with work. We all do have jobs, but they had they get their stuff done and stuff. So yeah, we gonna hold it down tonight. But all right, we combined Code 8 because there was two parts. So we're going to review both parts. So first I'll go over part one, the summary, director and the cast slide. Then we'll do that for part two, but then we'll do the regular format. So it's going to be a little different today since we combined both of the movies and stuff. So we could discuss them together since, they kind of go hand in hand with each other and stuff. So, man, can you read this slide or?
Yeah.
Go on that one? All right.
Code 8, Part 1. Code 8 is a 2019 Canadian science fiction action film written and directed by Jeff Chan and starring the cousins Stephen and Robbie Amell. In the early 21st century, the public becomes aware of people with superhuman abilities known as powers, resulting in the government passing a law requiring all powers to register their abilities. Although they are initially popular in the workforce, as the third industrial revolution begins, powers are marginalized.
All right, I appreciate you. I'll jump to the directors and producers for this film. So the directors and the producers for this film is Jeff Chan, written by Chris Paré and Jeff Chan. And hopefully I said his name right. So produced by Jeff Chan, Robbie Amell, Stephen Amell, Chris Paré, and Rebecca Book. And for the directors and producers, it's pretty similar except for a couple minor things. So I might just, breeze over that real quick when we get to the second part. All right, so the cast for this one, Robbie Amell as Connor Reed, Stephen Amell as Garrett Kelton, Sung Kang as Officer Park, Carrie Matchett as Mary Reed, Greg Burke as Marcus Sutcliffe, Aaron Abrams as Officer Davis, Kyla Kane as Nia, and Lisa Oliveira as Maddie, and Vlad Alexis as Freddie. So, all right, we'll go ahead and jump into part two. So, Manic, if you could cover this one.
Okay, Code 8, Part 2. Code 8, Part 2 is a 2024 Canadian science action film directed by Jeff Chan, who co-wrote the screenplay with Chris Paré, Sharon Lee, and Jesse Lavercombe. 5 years following the events of Code 8, the LCPD has reformed their militarized tech program, replacing the armed humanoid robots, Guardians, with non-lethal companions, K9 robots, similar to dogs. Under the leadership of Sergeant Kingston, the project has been a success, and the streets have never been safer.
All right, I appreciate you. So like I said in the first one, the only difference was really Sharon Lee and Jesse Lavercombe for the written by and produced by, same producers on the first one. So I'll jump into the cast on this segment. So for part two, again, Robbie Amell as Connor Reed, Stephen Amell as Garrett Kelton, Serena as Pavani, Alter Vincent as Officer Stillman, Alex Morali as Sergeant Kingston, Jeudy-Lamour as Officer Sorelli, Aaron Abrams as Officer Davis, Nika Elliott as Nadine, and Jean Yoon as Mina. So, all right, y'all. The rating, and we'll break it. We'll do a rating for both movies and stuff. So first we'll do part one, and then go over to part two. So for part one, I would give that an 8, and for part two, I'll give it a 7.2 for those ratings. So all right, Manic Genius, what's your rating for these movies?
Yeah, on part one, I would go. I go at 8.5, and then part two, I don't remember what I said on the last one, but whatever that number was, it's consistent. I think it was probably in the 7s. So I'll just say a solid 7.
Okay. All right, KC Fred, where's your ratings for both films?
I think for the first one, I gave it a 7. I think I can't remember exactly, but then part 2, I actually like that. Might have a lot to do with the dogs, but I gave it a 7.5.
Okay. So you was in like good and then very good for the second rating, where me and Manic was more or less in a excellent, and then we're very good territory. So all of us was pretty close. So we'll start from the bottom and go down why you gave those ratings.
Okay. The first one I gave because of the way the storyline was building up, and it kind of introduced the characters and let you know what they were doing and why they had the basically the talents that they have, the special abilities and everything. And I really appreciate the character development on that. I think the second movie was you already know who they are and what they can do, but now all of a sudden they add an extra person in there and who has a special ability that you didn't even see or notice from the first movie. And so it's like everything is built around this little girl. And you see that the other characters, they are picking sides as far as which side they're on and who they're for and who they're against. And so as you watch that develop, you notice that it gets you more involved, it feels like, because you already know who these people are and whether they're good, bad, and ugly. It's like you see that part, but then you're able to really kind of like sit back and enjoy the movie. And of course, I love the special effects. I actually like the special effects better in the second one than I did the first. And so that kind of made everything push up a little bit more, or else I probably would have gave 7s all the way around the board, to be honest. But special effects was like really cool in the second one. And like I said, the dog robots, I mean, that was a whole nother level that I didn't see coming. I really thought they were just going to stick with the original, I forgot what they call them, the
Guardians.
Yeah, the Guardians, and stuff. And so I thought that's where they were going to stay, and they just added a whole nother level and dimension to it. And so because of that, I had to push it up to at least a 7.5 because the special effects were really cool. And it just grabbed your attention. And, that's what I like. I like action movies, stuff that keeps moving. So that's why I gave it a 7.5 on the second one.
Okay. Manic Genius. Why'd you give those ratings that you gave?
I gave Code 8, the part 1, a little bit of a higher rating because, it told the story and it cleared up a lot of points. I seen these out of order. I seen the second one first. So there was a lot of things that just quite didn't make sense, but I think they spent a good amount of time in Code 8 part 1 that was good for explaining a lot, and I like the character development and the growth that was exhibited. So it felt like a more exciting story because it was, you're going from 0 to nothing. But I would agree with Casey Fred that the special effects were definitely better in the second one. They definitely spent a bigger budget on that, but overall, I like the storyline in the first one because, I'm not going to get too much into it, but the main character, you saw different sides of him, depending on the different scenes versus in the second one, he was still, he was kind of the same, throughout the whole movie. There wasn't really a dynamic character in the second one.
Okay. What's good, CLS? We just kind of went over gave our ratings and stuff real quick. So I gave the first part, part 1, I gave it an 8, and then 7.2 on the second part. Manic, what was your rating again for the 2?
I don't even remember it. I think for the first 8. One, I gave it like an 8, and then the second one I gave it a 7.
Okay. And Casey Fred, what was your ratings again?
I gave it, the first one was a 7, and the second one I gave it 7.5.
Okay. So CLS, what would you rate the first movie?
7.
And what about the second part?
Let me think about it for a second. I guess like I give it a 7, man. I was gonna say 8, but I don't think I like the first one better. I like the first one better than the second one. So I can't rate that one higher. So give it another 7.
Okay, but you was right on all of us was in the same territory. So you thought it overall was like a pretty good movie story. I mean, did it connect for you, the two pieces?
Yeah, it connected. Because I mean, the first one was just a continuation from the first film, the second one. Because he just does 5 years in prison, and then he gets out and he's trying to pick up where his life left off. You know, his mom passed away, and you know, he's just trying to get his life back together.
Right. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the. Oh yeah, I'll give my breakdown. So yeah, the reason why I gave like I say an 8 to part 1, because I did like the storyline, the character development. I like how they introduced the characters as far as like how they had powers, how they were kind of like, you know, heavily policed. And then I like how they went through that whole process. And then I like part 2. I mean, it's still connected. I think the storyline, they missed some opportunities there, but it was still like a good continuation, I think, of part 1. So like you guys said, definitely heavy on the sci-fi. So like thinking about it, I'm definitely might have to bump up a little bit.
Did
some of that? Huh?
No, I was gonna just add on when you were finished.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So nobody thought this was like a low budget X-Men.
Yeah, I got that vibe.
Yeah, very low budget X-Men, bro. If you look at if you look at all of their abilities, because Garrett was like Magneto, and then let me see, what's his name? Connor. Connor's mom was like Iceman, and then him and his father both had electricity, Storm, and then what was it?
Nia had the fire. Was it?
No, Nia was a healer. She was a healer.
healer.
She was a healer and a junkie. That sounds like a name of like a title of a song.
Yeah.
Healer and a junkie.
The world's greatest contradiction and shit.
It really was.
And then the girl in the second part, she had like a pretty good power where she could like control. But the reason I did like this, because like you said, yeah, the power thing, it does kind of align with like X-Men, but
it does.
You know, they wasn't like over the top powerful. You know, it was more or less controlled and stuff like that. And you know, they're like I said, they had the powers, but it wasn't like something that could have been stopped and stuff. So yeah, that definitely, like you said, it connects to, and it had that urban feel, you know. So I did like how they.
Okay. Smaller budget.
Yeah, I would say it's like a more realistic version of X-Men.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, but what's her name? Pavani?
Yeah, Pavani.
He's a transducer. That's what it was. I had to write it down.
Yeah, transducer.
Yeah. Wrote that shit down, I was like, I was waiting. I think Garrett, he was the one who, told.
But see, the one guy, you know, even though they're cousins in real life, what was he on? He was the Arrow, right?
Yeah, Arrow. Yeah, you're talking about Garrett. Yeah, he was
Arrow.
Arrow. He was on the Flash. He was Casey Jones too. If you've seen the Ninja Turtle movies. The Michael Bay film though, not the original 3 movies, but the ones that Michael Bay did. His was the more animated shit. The 2 films. Yeah,
that's how I knew he was okay.
He's Casey Jones.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Man, Casey Jones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, we'll go.
I was trying to picture his face. I was like, I've seen him somewhere before. And I was like, oh, okay.
Damn, Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. Yeah.
So, damn,
I didn't like Arrow though. Did you? I can never get into it. I seen like maybe 2 episodes of the first season, and that was it.
I like the beginning seasons, but you know, it kind of like went on too long.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, I watched the first couple of seasons. Yeah, it was pretty good, but
I couldn't get into it, man. I really could.
But all right, so we'll start with the first 2 questions together. So, would you recommend this movie to anyone, and would you watch this again? So, I'll start with CLS first on these 2.
Yeah, I mean, if I was hanging out with people who never saw it before, and they were just, you just be on Netflix, just browsing, trying to find something new to watch, and they were just like, "Hey, let's watch this." I'm like, "Okay," I'd watch it with some people who never saw it before, and then I don't. Yeah. Group setting, Casey. Group setting, I guess.
You said a group setting.
In the sense of, I wouldn't pay cash money to go out to no movie theater to go see it, but if it's on, like CLS said, if it's on TV or Netflix, then sure, I don't have a problem with that at all. Like I said, it had enough action in there to really keep you going. It wasn't like none of us fell asleep on the movie. So with that being said, you know, definitely yes.
Okay. And yeah, for me, I definitely would recommend this, and I would watch it again. And honestly, this would have been one I would have watched in a movie theater, man. I like I said, altogether, I liked it. So I think both parts connected. So man, I got to get. He stepped away for a second, but we'll jump into the third question. What did you think about the plot or the storyline? And I'll start with you first on that, Casey, Fred.
For the first one, I actually, like I said, I really liked it because of the character development and stuff. And I told you guys the last time that, you know, being that he was a mama's boy, you knew why he was doing what he was doing when it came to getting money for work, because it was really about his mom, and that was where his heart was. And so he was willing to do whatever it takes, because one thing, he felt like he owed her that. You know what I'm saying? She is, out of all the women, really stuck with him in spite of, you know, what he was, you know, what he became. And so it was just like, I thought that was really cool. And then it did something to him when I was sitting towards the end, when he had to make that decision to finally let her go. And I feel like we all have been through that in some way, shape, form, or another, where all of a sudden we had something really dear to us and then end up having to, you know, lose it for one reason or the other. And I feel like that kind of molded and kind of shaped him to make the kind of decisions that, you know, he did. And you could tell he was fighting it tooth and nail. Do I want to make the right decision, or do I need to go ahead and get that bag? And there's, I always think about that scene where all of a sudden everybody is at the truck and the black brother tells him, come on, man, you're supposed to be with us. And the car pulls up and he already knows, man, I can make double.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I go with the bad people. So, you know, hasta la vista, I'm going with them. You know, I got to take care of moms, you know, so, and that's what he did. But I thought that was really cool. And then, are we still talking about this, both of them together, or how did you?
Yeah. Just go through it, man.
Okay. So then with the second one, you know, he knew what it was to lose. And so when all of a sudden this girl happens to be all of a sudden pop up out of nowhere in this little, what was it, like a shack? What was that thing that she was in?
Like a tool shed. It looked like a tool shed.
Yeah, it was like a tool shed.
Like a tool shed.
And he found her, and you know, she had already lost her brother, and she didn't have no one. And here he is, you know, had already been cleaning up a place that was pretty much, you know, it was, I think it was supposed to be like a community center or something like that, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was dormant. Nobody was in it. Nobody was using it or anything, but yet he was still, you know, it felt like he was trying to make up for lost time as far as trying to do good and be good. You know what I mean? Because that's what his mom always saw was the best in him. So then all of a sudden he finds this girl, and for whatever reason, he couldn't let her go, man. And there was many times, man. I don't know. You know, when you got extra baggage, you know, you start thinking about it. You can start thinking all this stuff. You be thinking twice about things. And for whatever reason, he just I think it in so many ways it kind of reminded of his mom. He couldn't let it go. He couldn't let her go. And all the way to the end, it was just like he was there for her when nobody else was. And I just, like I said, I really like the way they did the storyline and the plot. And like I said, I had to bump it up on the second one because the special effects were just cold. I liked it, man. I mean, compared to the last one, like I said, those robotic dogs, I was like, I almost wanted one, man. I was like, yo, man, that was you know what I'm saying? Better than the dogs you see around on the block, that's for sure. So
yeah,
but yeah, I thought it was really cool. I like the way they did it and the way it was orchestrated and stuff. So I felt good about it. And I don't know. like I said, that was me as far as I like both. It was more character development in the first one compared to the second one. I felt like it was more action, but as far as the care of where he was and how he took care of this girl, it gave me those vibes of the way he was with his mom. And so it was something that you could see that he was on the journey. You could tell, you know, when he came out of prison, he needed something and somebody, you know, and this girl just happened to come at the right time. And I just thought that was cool because he clung to her. And I mean, there was that scene where all of a sudden, you know, they were trying to erase her memory. I never forget that. And I know I need to step back because that's the next question on scenes, but I'll come back to that. But yeah, I enjoyed the storyline and the plot, though. It was really cool.
All right. So let me go to Man and Genius real quick. Would you watch this movie again, and would you recommend this movie to anyone?
Yeah. It was, both movies were solid, so I would definitely watch it again, for sure. And because they tie into each other. So I think watching it after watching both parts, when you watch the first one again, you just see different things. So I definitely will watch it again, and I would recommend it to people because it was a good movie all the way through. The storyline was good, the plot was interesting, and it didn't really have too many dead spots or points that just didn't make sense. So I think this was a very carefully and well written movie. So yeah.
Okay. And CLS, what did you think about the plot of the storyline?
I thought it was cool. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't like hard to follow what was going on. His mother raised him not to use his abilities because she feared that he might die the same way his father did. I think he said his dad was trying to rob a liquor store or something, to raise money or something like that. Yeah, because his mom was sick. So it seemed like, I mean, he was trying to be like his dad. He was trying to be a provider, you know what I mean, take care of his mother.
Right.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, as for me, man, I definitely like the plot and the storyline. I do like, it was well thought out how they did the two movies and stuff. So I like we all mentioned the character development. I like how they introduced the whole how the mutants was kind of segregated and how society was kind of treating them because there's like real life implications of how that kind of plays out. So I like how they did that to the mutants and stuff. Like you guys said, they were trying to hide, like using their powers and stuff, because of the heavy policing of them and stuff. So I like how they kind of capture that. Like we mentioned, I like how they made the powers not too overwhelming, where, some like I know we mentioned X-Men, but, shoot, some of them X-Men, they have powers that could just, so theirs was more or less like maintainable and stuff. And so there was a lot also, when they were doing the jobs, they had to, think it out where it was just, they could have come in there with just brute force. They still had to like plan stuff, have the right people in there, just even for basic jobs. So I like how they had captured all that stuff.
Come on, dude. I was going to add on to something you said. Really, Fred mentioned it too. When he did that first construction job, that whole construction site, man, that whole scene was laughable though, right? Notice, I don't know if you paid attention to like did you see a nail gun or any power equipment? All I saw was like when the cops rolled up, I looked at the garage part. It was some bags of concrete mix on the ground, a little mixer. Dude, I didn't see a nail gun, a fucking a crane or anything. It was just like they just building a house with no equipment.
Well, they was using their powers a little bit.
You didn't have a permit though. You needed a work permit. You needed a work permit to use your powers.
Yeah, because I saw they was like cheating a little bit. They were like, "Hey,"
they was told everybody was cheating because he was an electrician. What's his name? Connor was.
Yeah, but I saw they had to do like weld stuff a little bit. And then that was like had stuff floating. I was like, all right, man, they got a little system now.
Yeah, there was it like the piece used for like the ventilation or whatever. He had pieces floating in the air and shit.
No, they had a tight little system down. They was using teamwork on there. They had no permits.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He said, "How are we gonna afford the permit if we ain't got no money?" Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I did like how they, like what Fred said, how they had the jobs. They were sitting outside waiting for them and stuff. So like you guys, I did like how they made it where, they were just like they were like kind of basic people, even though they had these powers and and they're looking for labor and shit.
Working under the table. So those are just like the guys you see at Home Depot right now.
Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking about.
Or a Chevron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I like how they capture that and stuff. So, and then now they tied in like how my man, he just had to maneuver out of desperation, you know, to save his mom. So yeah, I just like, I thought the plot and the storyline was like real good. Then I like how in the next part, you know, they kind of continued it on. I think they missed a piece where I wish they would have followed him in jail or something like that. To capture that, where like maybe he met up with other mutants and stuff. So I think they missed some part. And I'll probably capture that later.
They missed another one I wanted to add too, but I don't know if you want to save it for the next question. But
oh yeah, but real quick, let me ask Manning Genius and Casey Fred a question, because originally I had everybody watch part 2, and it was funny because when we did that review, I never put it out, but you know, you guys were like, man, I wish they would have done this. Did the part 1 help fill in that gap and make that connection for you guys?
Yeah, it did with the whole psych drug, but I mean. Yeah, it did.
What about you, Casey Fred? Did it fill them gaps? Yep. Well, you watched part 1 and then part 2.
Right. I actually did it.
You watched it correctly.
Yeah, you watched it correctly.
I did the same thing he did. I just watched it in order. Same thing he did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Manning and the rest of them, they watched it out of order. So they're like, man, you know, it was funny when I came to that question. They were like, I wish they would have connected on this. So now it's good to hear that. It aligned and stuff. That was my fault. I signed part 2. I should have just did it. So anytime we have movies like that, I'll make sure we go watch them and we'll merge them. But all right, what scenes and performances stuck out to you? I'll go to CLS first on that one.
Where we start with the first one first?
Yeah, you just either one for both movies.
Well, the first job or whatever. I guess it was like a temp job when they were at that construction site building that house.
Yeah.
That kind of stood out because you got to see everyone's abilities, everyone that was there. Because I kind of think some of those guys didn't have any powers, but majority of them did. So then when the cops showed up, I guess they were looking for people who had warrants, and it was that one dude that had the warrant, and they arrested him. Yeah,
my man got shot in the back.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. I was like, why are you trying to run? I mean, you know they're gonna shoot you. Yeah, it was crazy. And then but the whole time, like I said, he was hustling, man. He was grinding or whatever. He was trying to raise money so he can get his mom that operation that she needed because she had a brain tumor?
Yeah. It
was a brain tumor or something. Yeah. And it's just like it was to the point where she couldn't control it. She was at work at that grocery store, and it was like was it like a frozen can of spaghetti or something on the floor or something? Something, because she's just freezing shit. You know what I mean? She's at home. She's at home, rinsing hot water on her hands and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, she did have a pretty cool power though, man. I wish we could have seen that a little bit.
Iceman, bro. Iceman.
Yep. It's Bobby Drake.
Yep.
All right. All right, Casey Fred. What scenes or performances stuck out to you?
It's funny because on the bloopers I said it and you guys was like, I don't think this is the right one. But it's the one I talk about the mom, because that's the one that really got me, man. And it was the one where all of a sudden it cracked me up because before I get to the hospital, oh boy, I think his name was Garrett, told him, hey man, gave him the gun and said, do what you gotta do. And he told the girl, all right, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to come with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That shit wasn't cool, man. I was thinking about that too. I was like, man, that ain't cool. Come on, man. You don't force her to do that at gunpoint. It's crazy.
So then the part that I was talking about when it came to the mom was when that conflict that's inside of him, and it was just like she was like, hey, you gotta let me go. And this is that inner tour, because he was doing all of this for his mom. And it's like, do I let my mom go because this is what her wishes are, even though I know this girl who's a healer is going to end up taking her life as well? So it almost makes him feel like he's selfish because what he really wants is his mom, but he can't have both. And so it was just, that was really tough for him. And eventually at the end, he does make the right decision. And I just thought that was kind of deep, but it was a conflict, an inner conflict, should I say, that he had to literally make. And so then all of a sudden you go to the second movie, and then all of a sudden it's just like, there's this girl that all of a sudden it's almost like it brings those same feelings out, that the way he felt about his mom. He couldn't let her go. And then when all of a sudden she got shot, it was just like, dude, you could just see it on his face, those same emotions. I'm like, man, somebody that I'm starting to care for, you know, be there for, and now all of a sudden I'm losing her too. And you know, it was just like, you just saw it on his face and the way he gripped her and picked her up and everything. And I just was just like, wow, that's deep. Because once again, getting back to real life, we all have lost somebody, you know, and we have to go through those emotions. Some people we didn't want to let go. Some people we had to let go. But it just showed real life right there. And I know it's outside the movie, but it was just like it felt like everybody could relate when it came to those scenes. So they both of those really there was a lot of funny stuff too, especially in the first one, but those were probably the main two that really kind of stuck out to me. So.
All right, Manic Genius, what scenes and performances stuck out to you?
I think I got to give credit to all the actors and actresses in the movie, because everybody, it felt real. It felt organic. Like they did an excellent job of writing and, you know, hiring the right actors and actresses to, you know, perform the roles, because it didn't feel, I mean, I think there was some parts, especially in the first one, where it looked a little lower budget, but as far as talent, they did not, you know, go lower budget on that. So that all the actresses and actors, like they did a good job. Scenes, definitely the scene at the end on the first one where he's forcing Nia to use her powers to save his mom, and then, you know, essentially changes his mind because he realizes like what he's forcing her to do. He's pretty much killing her to save his mother, and it's like a life for a life, and he realizes that he has no right to do that. And his mom wouldn't want that. So I thought it was, and then in the next movie, the whole storyline is kind of centered around that dynamic of, you know, him caring for his mother for so long. He always cared for somebody. So now that his mother's gone, he has nobody to care for. And his life is real basic. You know, he just tries to stay out of the way. He doesn't need the money anymore. It's not about money. So, you know, he finds this girl, and it's like essentially his mother replacement as far as someone to care for him and protect and, you know, have a purpose. And, you know, it doesn't show it in the beginning of the scene, or it doesn't show it in the beginning of the movie for the second one, but you see later when he brings the girl to his house, he's got like 2 bottles of psych. So he's been shooting up himself. Like, it's like he's a junkie now. It's like, wait, he wasn't like this before. But it's like he was just dealing with the trauma of losing his mom and, you know, doing the prison time, and immediately is embarrassed and like gets rid of that stuff. And you don't see him relapse. He doesn't go back to it in the movie. He's not like sneaking off like to try to get his psych hit. So it's just like, if it weren't for her coming into his life, this whole movie wouldn't even exist, because, you know, he'd have just been the janitor, you know, staying out of the way, you know, and doing his little drugs to, you know, I guess fight the pain. But as soon as the daughter came into his life, it gave him a new sense of purpose. And I thought that was really clever in the way that they wrote that, because what else can you motivate a guy to do who just lost the one thing he cared about the most?
Hey, can I ask you a question, Manic?
Yeah.
Did you feel like in the second one you could actually relate, since that you have a child yourself, as far as caring about somebody that's outside of yourself?
Honestly, no.
He's self-centered. He's like, nah, I would have lived in this movie. Everybody's gotta go.
If she wasn't my kid, like, he's better than me, I'd have been like, hey, shorty, like, I already did my prison time. Like,
yeah, like, look,
like, I ain't going back. I wouldn't have took on that burden, but I see why he did it though. Like, I would have helped a little bit. I definitely would have. I would have hand delivered her to Garrett and just trusted that Garrett knew what was best. So she would have lost her memory if she was fucking with me. So
yeah.
But he didn't trust Garrett though. That was the part that got me so bad. You know what I mean? From the way he was treated from the first movie. So it was like, and he even told him that, like, hey, as soon as he saw him, because Garrett came to come pick him up, and he was like, no, you know what? The best thing you can do is get out of my life. So
He pretty much told him to eat a dick, pretty much.
He said, hold that.
See, I like Garrett. Garrett was just about Garrett was like, look, man, we gonna survive.
Garrett was about business. So I like that dynamic too. But like I said, like I wouldn't have, given Garrett Pav when he's trying to kill her. I'd be like, nah, you don't do that. This is a little girl. Like wipe her memory so she forgets her brother. I would have looked at it, cost benefit analysis, and be like, hey, a lot more people are going to die unless she just goes through this process. At least if she goes through this process, she'll still be alive and she can still live her life. And her brother, quite frankly, wasn't that great anyway. Kind of shit.
And then wiped his memory out.
And then that crook, dude. No, you wasn't paying attention to those flashbacks. He basically raised her like he was the father. You see all those flashbacks?
Yeah,
she
he
was
did,
14, bro. She was 14. Them flashbacks went all the way back. She looked like she was like 5 or 6.
Yeah. He definitely took on the responsibility, but he didn't do a really good job.
Dude, he's a kid raising a kid. A kid raising a kid.
So she didn't need that memory. She could have like had.
You could have just wiped her memory, took her to Disneyland, got her some cotton candy, and she would have been like, "Oh, I have the best life ever."
Yeah, exactly.
But remember, that's what Connor said though. He was just like, you don't have to erase all her memories of her brother, just erase that one. And they said they couldn't erase just one. He had to wipe it clean. So she
he wasn't that great.
Everything was tied together. Nigga, she was a kid raising a kid. Don't you get that?
I do, but
he's supposed to be who was supposed to be Cliff Huxtable.
You saw his power. Even his power was
so trash. I was like,
my man couldn't even hide right.
I was like,
his power was like who? Nightcrawler, right? Remember Nightcrawler?
Nah, Nightcrawler wasn't that look.
It was very similar. I mean, he couldn't teleport. He couldn't teleport Nightcrawler, but he could like a chameleon. He could like blend himself in with.
He wasn't even good at it though. Like he did his chameleon thing, and the guy was like, "I see you clearly."
Yeah, he was like, "Come out, stupid." Yeah, my man couldn't even hide behind some crates, right?
Yeah.
It was like, well, we kind of blending with the brick wall.
Yeah,
he looked, bro. Like
pallets.
I could
really, there were pallets. It was like a stack of pallets.
And he did it like this. Like he got like this, and then did it. Like, why didn't he just get on the ground and lay like flat and then do it? Like
he could have. He could have.
Yeah, he could have. So he wasn't even bright. So like that's a memory she didn't need. She could have. He
did his best, man. He lived in they were in the hood, man. He did his best. Did the best he could do.
I mean, but
he was trying. He did his best.
Bro, he could have got a job, bro. He could have got a job because what the little errands that they had him doing, like the little petty stuff, he could have literally got a job at McDonald's and been probably doing better.
He was like a corner boy.
Yeah,
he wasn't even a corner boy.
Moving packs. moving packs. What was it called? Psych.
Yeah, he had the psych packs.
Yeah, right. Moving packs. Yeah, you know something they should have touched on though. You know the dude Park that was the detective, that cop, the Asian dude. You remember where he's from, right? Power. John Mock. You don't remember John Mock?
Yeah.
Oh, you said in Power.
Yeah, Ghost. Remember when Ghost was alive? He was John Mock. He was like the assistant district attorney.
Oh, okay, yeah.
John Mock. Yeah, he was.
But Pac wasn't in the second one.
Huh?
He wasn't in the second one.
No, he wasn't. That's what I was getting at. He wasn't in part 2, but he was in the first one. But
that's that money. He wanted more. Probably wanted too much money.
Yeah, they're like write his ass out.
They did a good job doing it.
He did all the power shit, but then he's been in like 5 or 6 Fast and Furious movies too. Remember?
Yeah, I remember him from Fast and Furious. I can remember him.
But then also Power too. So that's why I remember his face. But he was in Ninja Assassin. He's been in a lot of
different stuff. He's been in a lot of movies. But I'll go ahead. I'll touch on the scenes and performances that.
Okay.
I think one of the first scenes that stuck out to me was definitely the one I think where that when the mom was working in the that supermarket and she had that boss and he kind of pressed him. He finally like got into it with him. So I like how they captured that dynamic. How she was even though she was going through her illness, she still had to deal with that type of boss dynamic. So I thought that was a tough scene. Also I think. The one scene when they did the first like criminal activity with each other, I like how they did that whole like kind of like heist and robbery. So I like how that played out. And then in the second movie, I like the one scene where my man Garrett was talking to the other guy, and then he kind of showcased he had a power too. So I like how that kind of played out, because at first, you know, you're like, damn, why is he against the mutants? But then to come out, he's a mutant too. So I like how they kind of rolled that out. And I love the scene on the second part where all those mutants was fighting like the police officers and stuff. I like how that unfolded. So I like how that action scene came out. So those was the scenes. And just to kind of go on the performances, yeah, I definitely like the diversity in the acting cast. And I like how they had a lot of like newer actors. You know, they had some like, I'll say veteran actors, the two cousins, but they also had like a lot of new actors to fit those roles and stuff like that. So I definitely think they did a great job getting the right actors, like Mannix said. But CLS, you was about to say something?
No, I was going to say, if the movie was a little longer, maybe they could have touched on the fact that the cop, Park, his daughter had abilities too. Do you remember when they were walking through that park with the...
oh, yeah, that's right.
She was eating the cotton candy, and she was like, are you going to get rid of me? And he was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, that's usually what parents do with kids like me. You know, they get rid of us.
Yeah.
But they never really said what her abilities were. But I'm guessing, you know, she was a mutant since she made that comment. And then that's when I guess the black dude came up and gave him that card to meet with Connor. It was right before that. Yeah.
No, I think there's going to be part 3 because of the way it kind of ended and stuff. You know, when my man Garrett was like looking at the TV and stuff. I think there's going to definitely be a part 3 where I was saying on it. My thing is I think they're going to have like a more of an uprising. They're going to come together and stuff, you know, to kind of rebel against the Guardians. That's why I think it's going to lead up to. So, yeah, I definitely would like to see that. You know, we're kind of jumping into the 4th question. So that would be the change I would make. Do a part 3 and make it where, you know, they kind of rebel against society. All the mutants kind of like team up, you know, not to like overtake, but just to kind of get their rights back and stuff. So I think that's where it should lead up to. And they start bringing back some of the old players, like the lady that was the healer. Maybe like what you guys was saying, like the daughter that had the powers and stuff. So people could come back in the 3rd part. And then the little girl, like she seems like she's real powerful, how she could control a lot of stuff. So maybe she goes after the Guardian. So yeah, I think that would be a nice little build up.
See, that's
for the most part, it seemed like they all had the same abilities. Because remember when they were getting shot at by those robots, the Asian lady that was running that gym or whatever, like she was like bulletproof, like the dude from the first movie that was bulletproof, the white dude with the bald head. I guess he was like a bodyguard or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Rhino. Yeah, because yeah. And then you remember the one black dude that was like on the team that was mute, but he was like super strong and stuff.
Yeah, so, he was super strong. He was picking them drums up or whatever. Yeah, he was strong.
My man was Diesel.
He was, yo. I was wondering what his power was. I was like, what? I was waiting for him to do something. I was like, oh, okay. Because Connor was struggling trying to move that one drum, and he just picked it up and put it on his shoulder. Like,
yeah, my man was Diesel.
He was strong as shit. He was skinny, but he was strong as shit.
So yeah, I think they're gonna bring all of them together, and it's gonna be like, man, they're probably gonna take out like those Guardians and stuff like that. So.
They're gonna break Barrett out of prison, or Garrett out of prison. Garrett.
Oh, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Break him out. Yeah,
because he's a criminal through and through.
He is. And you notice how everything happened 3 months later. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, that's right. I did catch that.
Because you see like the little subtitle at the bottom, I say 3 months later, and then it just cuts to the scene. You notice that? Because when Connor got Connor got out of prison. It was like a little time jump. It said 3 months later, and that's when you see all the shit going on. And then at the end, it did the same thing. It's like 3 months later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's definitely gonna be another part, but that's why I wish they would have like showed him like linking up with other mutants and stuff inside the prison before he got out in part 2 to begin it. So I think that's the only thing I would have changed also with the actual movie. But altogether, I would have left it how it is.
Yeah, and then how can they control him while they're in prison? You know what I mean? With his abilities, he can just bend the bars and walk right out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They probably have some special.
Yeah.
They probably
kind of like in Deadpool, how they had the like necklace where they diffuse your powers or something. Yeah, that's a good question because I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
or like in X-Men and Magneto, where when they got Magneto, they were like they put him in this like glass or this plastic bubble enclosure.
Oh yeah, it was glass. It was like glass. I remember that.
Yeah,
like a glass prison. Everything's made out of glass.
He couldn't do nothing until Mystique inject the girl with enough iron. He was like, wait, something's different about you.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all the cops are walking around with like plastic guns, like hard plastic guns. Yeah, that's crazy.
He said, you got enough iron for me to extract it out of you and destroy everything.
Yeah, he was powerful though.
He was. Yeah. killing people with a quarter.
Yeah, I was just like,
that was First Class. He did that shit with the
when he came back.
It's like a quarter, a nickel, or some shit.
Yeah,
that was gangster. All right, Casey, Fred, what changes would you make if you were the director or the producer of this movie? Or would you just keep it as is?
I don't know why, but for some reason, I think this would have been stronger if it was, I don't know, for me, if it would have been a cartoon, kind of like the way the Spider-Man version was.
You said some anime or something?
Yeah, like, man. I mean, you know.
Those are 2 movies back to back. You didn't eat nachos throughout both movies?
Nah, I didn't get a chance to, bro. I didn't get a chance to. But you know, the funny thing about it is like I said, the first one, there was more character development and stuff. You really got a chance to find out who these people were and what their powers were. But, you know, thank God I saw the first movie first, so that in a way I knew. Because the second one, you know, if you didn't already know what their powers were, you were just along for the ride. You couldn't, you know what I mean? You were pretty much left out because they weren't going to explain it like the way they did in the first one, you know. And so you knew the second one, Connor was very, very strong. But in the very first movie, it was like he didn't even realize how strong he was, you know. And it was like everybody else had to say, oh, something's different about this guy, you know. What kind of electrician is he, you know, type of thing. And so I like that. And then I don't know why, but you guys, I saw old boy on Flash, and then I saw old boy, the other one, Garrett, on Arrow, and they were all mini series. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'd be thinking to myself, after they do this third one, I could easily see them putting it on like a CWS or something and turn it into a mini series, because that's the way they kind of seem to be like where they're going. You know, and then on the third one, there's always some female that, you know, Connor's got to be with. So who is it going to be this time? Is he finally going to get a girlfriend? I mean, it's just like you did the mom, you did the kid. Do you finally get somebody, you know, that's actually worth your time or for you to finally care about and you know, love them? But I don't know. I just thought it was. I hope the third one has a little bit more action, because it seemed like the first one, you got some, but it was more character development. The second one had more action, no character development. You just, boom, went right for it. And then the third one, if they do have the uprising, which reminds me of Planet of the Apes, because that's what the vibe I was getting, you know. I really hope it's really action-packed and just they have a bigger budget and just really go for it. Because to see the Guardians go against these mutants, that would be awesome. And then, of course, will they have more dogs? I would imagine they would have more dogs, you know, robotic dogs and stuff. I don't know why. I thought
you love these dogs.
Yeah. We about to get him one of those, man.
I'll have the safest house in the neighborhood, bro, if I had one of those dogs, man. That's just crazy, man.
Do you have any human dogs right now?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question.
No, I don't have any human dogs.
Do you want one?
You like
you don't want like a golden? Get you a golden or a German Shepherd or something?
You know what? It's just gonna sound crazy to you, but if I ever had a dog, it would probably be a husky.
Yeah. I would get like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. Pack animals. So yeah. 2 or 3.
A pack.
Yeah. They are, dude. You never saw what was that movie? What was it? 8 Below? It was 8 Below.
Yeah, 8 Below. That was my thing right there. 8 Below.
I love that movie. I think he had like 6 or 7 of those.
So would you gonna get a sled and shit?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a sled.
And then let
let's go play. Hey, never seen Uber sled. I will walk the streets safe, boy. I tell you.
You could.
Nobody can mess with me.
You could, though.
But all right, let me get Manic on that one. If you're the director or producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
Honestly, man, this movie was solid all the way through. Any changes that I would make, you know, any changes that I would make would throw the movie off. So, I liked your take, like make a part 3, and you know, bring some characters back, and I would say make a part 3, bring some characters back, and introduce even some new powers that are like you know, that, you know, we haven't seen. And I liked one of the things I forgot to mention that I liked in from 1 to 2 was it was a nice transition because it showed that the city was safer and everything looks better under this new leadership. But then you just find out that the cop just made a deal with the drug dealers to where it's like, hey, you know, now instead of it being like out of pocket, you know, it's going to be more controlled. Kind of like, you know, what they did in The Wire. It's like, hey, in this zone, you can do the drugs freely. You know, if you're a power, do the drugs as much as you want. Like when you die, no one cares. We just pick up the body and, you know, we don't even report it type thing. So it just seems like a safer.
Stringer Bell and shit.
Yeah.
I just remember, I was thinking about something Fred said. You know, that movie comes out, I think it comes out this summer. The part 4 of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Oh, they're making another one.
Yeah, because you remember Caesar died in 3 and War of the Planet of the Apes, and then 4 is going to come out this summer, and that's I guess I'm assuming his son is like the leader now, Cornelius.
Yeah. He's so tough.
It's gonna be dope too.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird without Caesar, but
yeah, I like.
What was the one monkey that like kind of double crossed him? Damn, I forgot his name. That was like just mad, had the scar and stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have
to watch the movie now. But yeah, my man was gangster. He just threw that other monkey. He was like, "Look, all right, you want to rebel?" My man was like,
because he started that shit. That was part 2. That was in part 2. Yeah, and they were just kind of trying to coexist and just live peacefully.
Yeah, my man was mad. He was like, they all gotta go.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the last question. So now that you heard other perspective, would you change your score or keep it the same? So I'll start with you, Man and Genius.
I'm gonna change my score a little bit. I think I had the first one at an 8 and the second one at a 7. I'll bump up the second one. Instead of a 7, I'll bump it up to a 8.2 because, you know, factor in the special effects and how they transition from 1 to 2. Like I'm boosting that up to where the second one actually was better for me because the fact that they were able to encompass everything like a smooth transition to, I've seen so many part 2s and they always feel so rushed and like choppy. And this one was a really good part 2. So I put part 2 over 1. So I'll keep 1 at the 8 and I'll bump part 2 to a 8.2.
Okay, real quick for me, I'm going up on like you said, part 2. So I'm gonna just 8s on both of them because I think it connected and hearing some of the stuff that, like I said, I probably didn't look at what you guys wrote down. Yeah, I think it, like you said, most storylines don't connect like that. So I like that, and you know the possibility of there being like another part. So yeah, 8s on both. All right, Casey, Fred.
I'm actually going to stay the same. I got the first one at 7, and then the second one at a 7.5.
Okay.
And I definitely thought the longer you go into the movie, if you put it all together as a whole, I mean, this is a very good movie. There's just no doubt about it. And like I said, it's the special effects that really take it to the next level. And so, like I said, the first one, you know, I understand you got to learn all the people, get the character development together, find out who these people are because, you know, you're going somewhere. But then the second one, it just takes off. And like I said, you just enjoy the ride. And so I always think of roller coasters all the time because I think of that long wait, you know, 40, 45 minutes, you know, you don't even have a quick pass or nothing. And then when you finally go on the ride, boom, you know what I'm saying? And it may only be 3 minutes, but it's definitely worth the 45 minutes that you waited, especially if it's a good roller coaster. And I felt like that's how 2 was for me, the second movie. Definitely worth the wait. So I enjoyed it. And I hope they really do come out with a 3 because if they do, I could almost see that being probably an 8 for me on that one because
I'm telling you, man, these producers need to hit us up, you know, so we can help flesh out these movies for them. I'm telling you, they'll be winning.
Yeah, big time.
It was like a 5-year gap though, because the first one came out in 2019.
Yeah.
But you know, the way they do the Matrix, you know, they're getting ready to have a Matrix 4, right? Another Matrix. So yeah, they already said they're getting ready to get started on it. And so let's me.
What else can you do with the Matrix?
Yeah, they need to cancel that.
That last one was a stretch. Like literally, he died in the third. Was it the second or third one? They both died, and it's like, oh, we reconstructed your entire body, and like that was a. And then they're stopping time. It's just like what?
Did y'all see?
They lost me with that.
You know, another movie that's coming out this year. I just saw the trailer like the night before last. I didn't even know they were making another movie. I think this is part 4. The fucking Bad Boys. You see that shit?
Oh yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, cause they almost 60 years old now. I was like, come on, the cops they don't usually stay cops that long, yo. They take a desk job or something. You know,
cats should be retired, working at the mall and some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see.
Exactly. Martin's starting to eat. You look old as hell now.
Hey, CLS, when the money gets low, that's when you bust out the new one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're like, shit, we need to do one more, man. Look.
They're milking that shit, man. They're milking that shit. I was like, dude. But the gaps are just too long, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you don't have it planned out, man, like you said, just leave it alone and maybe do a different. Yeah, I like working with each other, but yeah, they're milking it.
Do you understand the first Bad Boys movie came out when we were like 15? It came out in 95, bro. 1995. I was like 15.
You know, my man Martin, he all out of shape and shit. It's like, man, like nobody would see that shit. Like,
dude, I'm 45 now. It was just,
What they should have did was, introduce new Bad Boys. Like, the last movie should have been a passing of the torch. Like, hey, we got these young guys coming in, and like we're going to train them, and then maybe make a spinoff of Bad Boys. If the producers need to keep eating.
Well, like instead of Will Smith, put in August Alsina.
Oh yeah, what was it? And they made another. I didn't watch it, but what was it? Beverly Hills Cop.
That was a low blow.
You watched the last one?
There was a new one.
Yeah, I didn't. I think it went to like Amazon Prime or some shit, like or Paramount or something like last year. I just saw the trailer like last year, but I haven't watched it yet. And I was like, man. Eddie Murphy's he's up there now. He's like, isn't he like 60 now? He's got to be.
Yeah, he's up there.
I haven't seen Eddie Murphy act in a minute.
Yeah,
I wonder if he still got it.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a great actor. It's just
he's funny in movies, but he's definitely been out the scene. Yeah, they got to move on, man. Like you said, people got to stop milking these. Let's see, it's real quick. You gonna change your score or stay the same?
I'll stay where I'm at. I give them both a 7.
Okay.
Stay at 7.
But now overall, man, this was definitely a great movie, man. I like I said, you didn't feel the time. It flowed real good. Definitely great storyline. So they definitely need to do part 3. Hit us up, man. We'll help you out with that.
Yeah, the runtime was about the same, about an hour 40 minutes. Hour and a half.
And there was no like dead spaces, man. So that's what I like about this. That's what I'm saying. It's definitely a good movie, man. So definitely a good concept all the way through. Yeah. All right, man. We'll go ahead and do our parting words and stuff. So toss it over to you, Manic. Parting words.
Great movie, great series of movies. If you're a director or movie producer, definitely watch this movie because this was done really well. And any movie ideas, if you're creating a movie, hit us up. We'd love to review it, and that's it. Had a great time. Great movies.
All right, Casey, Fred.
Just want to say it's always good to watch movies in order, 1 and 2. And so definitely great movies on both accounts. I would definitely highly recommend everyone to see it, especially if you do have popcorn and nachos, because you definitely will enjoy yourself. And like I said, man, it's one of those where you can tell your family and friends to go see it, because one thing, you can get something out of it while you're watching it and being entertained. So like I said, I enjoyed it. It was good.
All right. CLS.
I just watch the movie when you get a chance. Leave comments. Tell us what you thought about it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, for this movie, man, definitely check out both parts, man. Great movie, great concept, man. Great actors. So definitely like this one, man. I like the whole flow of it. So shout out to the writers and the directors and producers on this one too. But all right, man, we'll go ahead and close this out. Y'all, like CLS said, man, leave some comments. Let us know what you think about this, man. Definitely interested on people's perspectives. So, but all right, we out of here. Peace.
Peace.